Hi there. Today's test is trying to revive old dead D cells. Well, what I did was pulled one of these apart, cleaned the stuff, soaked it in water, drained it and filtered it, kept the little center electrode, used that in the center. It's this sort of construction. I have a stainless steel cage wrapped in the separator, little cloth with the electrode in the center. This one has, because this doesn't hold as much as that cell, so the main of this contents, it was a flat battery, is on the outside with the zinc plate. I'm making another one, so I got the zinc plate on the outside, and then it's got the contents of that also mixed with some shop bought activated charcoal, and the center piece is full of activated charcoal in this one. It wasn't doing anything for like about 3 weeks. It was the voltage, it's got Epsom Salts as its electrolyte, and it was only like 0.4 volts. I think it started off at a 1 volt when I pulled it apart, so it was sort of dead. But I left it sitting over there. I wasn't going to show anybody. But yesterday I charged it up for an hour and the voltage went up to 2 volts on it and sort of held for a while. So today I've had it on charge at 6.5 volts, and we're coming up to 2-hour charge. And the meter's it's on the 10 milliamp range, 10 amp range, and it's 390 going in. We haven't quite got to 6 volts. It's about 6.5 on the charger, and that will be enough. That's 2 hours of charge. We'll let it sit down a little bit. It should sit about 2 volts if it was doing. Well, yesterday for an hour it sat on 2 volts. It was able to run the LED, and it was drawing 15 milliamps. It was nearly going to blow the poor little LED, and runs the motor with no problems for a while. And then I sort of left the experiment, and this morning it was still at 1 volt with enough power to drive that for a while. And so I charged it up for 2 hours, and now we're going to just check it out a bit. The new cell I'm going to make is a duplicate. It's got the zinc on the outside, which is sort of already half used up from the battery, and it's going to have the alleged fullerene carbon put into it. I'm going to have the bread on the inside and the sugar one on the outside, and we'll see what this one actually performs. So we're about 2.5. I reckon if I can find my blue LED, I'll probably be able to run that. Yeah, maybe. Alright, let's have a look. I'll just swap that over. Put on the 200 range. Maybe polarity's wrong. Might not be enough voltage. No, not enough voltage for the blue LED. Definitely does this LED, but we'll just connect the motor and give it a bit of a time and see what we get out of it. Okay, setting the motor now. Oh, sorry, wrong lead. It wasn't that good. That was freaking me out then. That was the battery lead, poor little motor. Alright, correct lead, starting now. That sounds a bit better. So we're delivering 80 milliamps at 1.4 volts. Sort of holds its voltage a bit better, but it's got a lot of carbon there. But yeah, it wasn't doing this when I first set it up. It took about 3 weeks, I think. When I pack it, it's not so packed so tight. It has to set and go hard around the electrode. So interesting to see the comparison of the carbon versus the activated carbon and the manganese dioxide, which was probably mostly consumed in that cell because it was an old battery. But when it's dead, it definitely doesn't hold a charge. So you can sort of revive your old batteries, sort of. Wear gloves, don't breathe in the stuff, and make sure you wash it out before you put your Epsom salts in. I soaked it for a week and then rinsed it a few times and then strained it through coffee filters. And we're holding at 1.1 volts, not too bad. We're at 1 minute run time. I don't know what a cell like that should really perform or have in it. But if you're in a pickle perhaps and you had some activated charcoal, not a bad run. Yep, alright, I'll pull the lead and we'll do a short circuit just to see what we got. Oh, 152 milliamps. Not too bad. Alright, I'll finish assembling this. So far I have the bread carbon wrapped in the center tube. All I got to do is pack that and let it soak. This one probably won't run so good until about a couple of weeks time. But I'll show you anyway when I get it set up. Alright, won't be long. Okay, I'm back. The last cell we ran the motor with, the voltage is sitting up about 1.9 and just holding there now. After our little discharge, I've got the sugar carbon on the outside on this new cell. Piece of zinc on the yeah, it is zinc, and bread sugar on the inside with the carbon. Okay, it hasn't got any electrolyte in it yet. It may not perform at all yet until a couple of days or more. Okay, let's see if we got any resistance. Can't detect anything. Alright, so I'll add some electrolyte. This is probably going to take a while to add this electrolyte. It's only Epsom salts. This is I'm trying a slightly stronger version. It's 200 mils with 100 grams of Epsom salts. It's going to take ages for it to settle in. But we're at 0.9 volts already on a zinc carbon cell. So a bit oversized. It takes a bit of carbon to fill that up. But since it's Epsom salts, I can wash and reuse this carbon. And it's handy having the little tube, the center tube. You can keep your carbon separate if you have different types. Actually, prefer this style because you don't need a binder, and you can sort of test your carbons a bit better without the binder interfering. Alright, I'll let that soak in a bit and I'll be back. Okay, back. It's been 6 minutes since I've put the electrolyte in. We've dropped in voltage. I think it's starting to swell up, and it's up, sort of blending into the steel frame of the mesh at the moment. I'll have to pack it down later. The voltage has dropped heaps, but without a charge, we've got 47 milliamps. We can run our motor just off what's in there without any charging or anything. It's just plain carbon in this one. That's holding its voltage pretty well. We'll see what happens if we give it a 6-volt charge for 1 minute. Shouldn't hurt it, maybe. Alright, charging now. Oh, it's taken over an amp. Oh, I mean, over a milliamp, 200 milliamps. It's doing 700 milliamps. The charge voltage is set at 6.5. I think they take like a couple of weeks, I reckon, to settle in. I also poke the carbon back down later when it dries out a bit. Starts to go all crystally with the Epsom salts. That's when it starts to perform pretty good. Or that's when that one started performing pretty good. Alright, that's our minute's charge. And we'll see what the voltage sets at. Alright, see, we're still under volts. We're dropping heaps. So we'll connect the load, just do a little test. Oh. There. 31 milliamps. The electrode's loose. This one's firmed right up. It's going totally tight. So it's going to run that pretty well, no problems. But that's a lot of carbon in that cell. But simple construct. I'd say in a week or two that would probably charge up to 2 volts, maybe more, who knows. We'll find out. I found another recipe to make some carbon from sugar. Apparently you use the mothballs as I think it's a carbon foam forming type thing. It shapes the carbon or something, apparently. So I got the furnace out there burning. Started at 11 o'clock, it's 3 PM now. I'm going to go to 5 on that. So alright, we'll go for a walk and have a look at the furnace in action, making the new carbon. And it started to rain, so I've got a lid on it. Quite hot. A gas bottle set on around about 5 psi. You get to make 4 lots of carbons. Alright, well, thanks for watching. We were running the motor on the uncharged cell and we're still going. We got 0.33 volts, 17 milliamps and 3 minutes. Alright, I'll let that form and I'll get back in a couple of weeks and let you know how that one's going. Alright, thanks for watching.